Hello and welcome to another episode of the Going to IE University podcast. Today, our special guests are Quentin Emiliano. Hey Quentin, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
And Ciara Rodriguez. Hey Ciara.
Hey.
So today we're going to be discussing your experience as first years at IE University. And with that being said, I think you guys can take it away.
You want to start?
Okay, well, last year was a bit of an unusual year, no? We basically started university during the COVID, the whole pandemic. And I guess, at least for the first semester, I was presential all semester. But, the first month was amazing. You got to meet a lot of people, but obviously clubs are closed. Bars only stayed open until 1 a.m. But it was still really fun until the curfew hit. Curfew was first at 10 p.m. and then it got pushed even sooner to 8 p.m. So that restricted us a lot.
It was really a big change because especially it's the first year of uni. You don't live with your parents anymore, so you kind of have that independence. You want to go out, you want to try things you haven't done with your parents' house because they put rules. You can't go out after this time or whatnot. And before the curfew hit, it was really nice. Spain, anyways, during the lockdown in the whole of Europe was one of the most lax countries. The bars were actually open. So before I lived in France and right before I left to IE, all the bars were closed, all the cinemas were closed, everything non-essential was closed. So it was pretty much, you could do nothing. You could only go out with your friends, but you could go to no entertainment or anything. And I think that's also what really changed when I came here to Spain. Everything was still open, even though there was the COVID, the curfew. So I guess it was still a kind of a positive thing. First year, the first week before class started, at least as freshers, we have the first week off compared to the second years. That's the week where I really met a lot of my friends, not only the ones that I lived in the residence with, but other people outside. And that's how you started building relationships. So I think the first week, right before your classes start, it's a very important week. I think that everyone should try to do it presential because that's where you actually meet all the people that are eventually going to become your friends.
No, for sure. I think that was one of the best weeks because everyone was so welcoming and everyone wanted to get to know everyone. So you always had a plan or you always had a random plan. I guess I met most of the people that first week too. And it was really fun. No, but same for me. I think a bunch of the students, we were all in lockdown. And when we first arrived to Spain, it was the first time you could actually go out. And on top of that, you had to meet everyone. So it was amazing. We were all in the same mood and vibe to try to meet everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I still remember that first week when we would go out and Plaza would just be filled of first years and no one knew each other. So it was insane because you could just go up to someone, talk to them, and then go to the next person. You could do that all night. And by the end of the night, you could have met 20, 25 different new people. And it was insane. And those people would keep your contacts. You would see them the next day. You would go out together. Especially Bao, at the very beginning, that's where all the first year used to go. So that was really interesting. You go to Bao, then you go to Plaza, you would go to someone's house. Or for us, for example, I know we would invite a lot of people to our residence because our residence was one of the only ones that actually allowed you could bring 1+ into the residence. So we did a lot of things in the residence. So I think also that's a very interesting option for the first years coming. Residences are a really great option because instead of living alone, you wake up every morning with different people, you start getting to know them, you build really good relationships that are in the second year are going to become your best friends. So Residences, honestly, it's one of the best things you could do for a first year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would totally recommend residencies. I was terrified before coming to IE. I even considered living alone because I was oh my God, what if I can't live with the person or if we get into fights or we don't, because I've heard a bunch of traumatic university stories. So I was super scared. And I guess also on top of that, during COVID, you were completely alone. So I was oh, maybe I'll be fine. But at the end of it, my parents actually pushed me to live with people that I didn't know in a residency and just meet them and see how it goes. Because at the end of the day, if anything does happen, I do have my room and my own space. But it was honestly one of the greatest things. I got to meet a bunch of people. We got close. I became friends, and it was really good. I really liked the residency experience.
Yeah, it's honestly really worth it.
So you guys have stressed the importance a lot of putting yourself out there and maybe living in a residency to optimize your experience as a first year. What other kind of advice do you have for incoming students?
In terms of anything go with organization or anything?
Yeah, really anything, whether it's settling in, whether it's tips for school, even
Well,
balancing, work and life.
one of the first things I would say is if you have any problems with the organization aspect, you can always ask IE, to be honest. You can always send an email to student services. They actually really help you. For example, they help me getting my DNI. They help all the non-Spanish get their NIES, which is actually a very annoying process to do. It's very complex, but it actually helps you a lot. They actually get you in contact with them, so you get priority over other other people. After that, they also help you if you have a lot of struggling with a lot of work, because at least for me, I did the IB, so I was kind of ready for the amount of work. But sometimes I talk to my friends where they did national schools, which are not as extensive or the work as the IB. And the work really hits them because you're in university. And then I think it's after the first couple of weeks, you start to realize this is actually a lot of work. And don't be afraid to ask your teachers or your classmates, because everyone I've met is really friendly. You get to meet hella people from like different places, and they all show you their different ways in managing. And I think that from talking to them, you can get their knowledge and they can help you organize and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Like even I know like at least for my classes, I have a bunch of different group chats with a bunch of different people, and since everyone comes from like a different background or a different education like system, you kind of just help each other. Yeah, for sure. Like everyone's super friendly and they're super open to help if you ask a question or anything on an assignment. Like everyone's super like open to help.
Yeah. And just to end a note and what you should do, for example, a tips for the first years coming in. The first couple weeks, you're going to have a lot of fun. You're actually going to let yourself go because it's the first time you're alone. So you're going to go out a lot with your friends. But the only tip I'd give you is after the first or second week, you have to start to actually calm down because, you actually have to realize that you have to do the work. You're not in a holiday. That's honestly, what I would compare my first 2 weeks of uni. It was pretty much a holiday. I wouldn't really care of the work. And just a tip is keep your eye on the ball because, like, at the end of the day, that's what's really important. And you're always going to have time to, like, have party, even, like, us in here second years. But just remember what's important.
I mean, even, like, the first week, you don't really have a bunch of work. It's just going over the syllabus, getting to know your teachers, your classmates. But no, for sure, after, like, 2 weeks, especially the third weekend, like, try to keep up with your readings, your notes, because out of nowhere, midterms are going to hit, and they're pretty soon. They're like mid-October. And I guess for a bunch of first years, at least, it seemed super soon and already having exams. So I guess just keep up with your schoolwork.
So talk to me a little about how accessible professors are, because I think that's something that's very unique to IE in particular. How you're able to interact with your professors really in a way unlike most universities.
I mean, the good thing about IE is that the classrooms, they're relatively small. So I guess at least last year during COVID, it was like 15 people. And then now second year without the restrictions, we are like 30. So the classrooms aren't that big. So you have a lot of opportunity to like speak in class, speak with other people, and speak to the professor. And I mean, when you have any questions, you can just ask the professor or after class or email them for sure. I always email my professors when I have any doubts or I'm not understanding something, and they're very, they help a lot. And they'll always reply to your emails.
Yeah, exactly. Just adding on to that is that if you ever really need anything with your professors, you can actually go up to them, you can talk to them, you can schedule a face-to-face meeting. I did that a couple times last year in subjects which I was struggling or I wasn't really understanding what we were doing. And the teacher will actually open up his timetable for you. He will give you a slot. You'll be able to go with him. You can go either to the cafeteria, you can go to one of the fish tanks, and they will explain everything to you. And I think that, like you said, it's IE really sets itself apart from other universities. Because in other universities, my friends, for example, there's 100 people, 120 people per class. And the teacher really doesn't have the capacity to schedule one-on-one meeting with everyone that would like to actually understand better or ask questions about the subject.
Amazing. Yeah, I can definitely attest to that, having previously been in a university where I was in a class of 600 people at one time, which is insane. And I had no idea what my professor looked like by the end of the semester. But yes, so as far as time management is concerned, what do your days look like? I know you're involved a lot, Quentin, in extracurriculars. Maybe you could talk to us a little about the club you started.
Yeah, so last year, mid-year, I started the IE Boxing Club. So I've been boxing for now around 6 years and a half. And when I came to IE, I was looking for a club to continue training because I didn't want all those years to go to waste. And the process of creating the club was actually really helpful. IE really helped me a lot with it. I contacted the sports department and I asked them whether there was a boxing club here or whether they knew somewhere I could go to box. And they told me that there wasn't currently a club, but they said that I could make one and they would help me with the whole process. So that's what I did. I started the club. I put some posts on Instagram. I asked IE Athletics to share a post about it, and the group chat actually exploded. We're over 130 people in the group now. We do trainings 4 times a week, and the organization for that is quite a lot, actually. I have to have completely separate time for that. I have to put work aside because it's looking at all the people that are going to go. I have to create the timetables. I have to coordinate with the gym teacher because he has to do different plannings for each different session. And also on top of that, I have all the work. So what I try to do, I say this for me because I have afternoon classes. What I like to do is I like to wake up early in the mornings. I will try to do everything boxing related or the club related, so I have the whole day to actually focus on the work for the classes. So I divide my homework usually in the mornings and sometimes in the afternoon, as my classes are quite in the afternoon. So morning is pretty much where I work. And you?
No, yeah. For me this year, I work a lot more in the morning because I have afternoon classes too. And I'm actually doing a part-time internship right now. So I have to wake up relatively early to get the work done. For my work, because I'm doing digital marketing right now. So I'm doing a bunch of things for the website and Instagram. So in the morning I do that. And some other mornings I go to cheerleading. I'm also a part of cheerleading. So I will go to the creativity center, practice, come back home, do some work or some reading or some homework, depending on what I have for the day. And then I normally make my lunch. I really like to cook a lot, so I always cook at home my lunch, and then by that time I just get ready and go to university for a class. That's mostly.
So you guys are both heavily involved in, obviously, school activities and extracurricular activities. And looking back in your first year, is there anything that you might have done differently if you could go back? Some things that maybe you would have changed in the way you do things or what you did or anything like that?
I think for my first semester, at least, because there was the COVID and the pandemic and everything was online, there was no, for example, club fairs in person or all the meetings that IE did were all through Zoom and online. Not a lot of people knew about it and not a lot of people would go. Me, for example, I had no clue about it, and I missed out on clubs for semester completely. I guess I found out about it second semester, and second semester I started to join things, which was I finally started to get more a part of the IE community. But definitely look into all your options for semester. Don't miss out on the events or anything because it's a great experience.
Oh yeah, honestly, I'd say the same thing. Just pay more attention to what the uni has to offer. For example, I know at least me, my email on the first semester was chaotic. I would get emails from IE pretty much every day. I wouldn't forcefully look at them because
I don't think anyone would.
No, I couldn't be bothered because sometimes they would send you up to 5 emails a day from different departments, and it will, like you said, it will include invitation to the club fairs and everything. And well, I didn't really look at it because I was bothered, going out with my friends. So I think if I were different, pay a bit more attention in the beginning of the year to all the information that IE gave you, because actually now I look back at it afterwards in the second semester. It was a lot of information to help you actually adapt, to find your classes easier, to contact them. It was all the contacts. So yeah, so just pay attention, even though you're having fun, just again, keep your eye on the ball. That's
Read
the most
your
important.
emails.
Read your emails.
Read your emails.
Don't let yourself have 1,000 unread emails, because then after that it's over. You can't find any of them.
Yeah.
So is there anything in particular, or maybe multiple things, that you guys learned about yourselves after your first year at IE? And maybe the way you do things or the way you shouldn't do things? Anything like that?
Well, I could say, for example, you know, I got to university and I got my first credit card. So, you know, I didn't have to ask dad for cash all the time to go out. And I did like spending it. Like, you would go out every day with our friends. We would always, you know, buy drinks and everything. And it's afterwards that I realized that it was a bit excessive, the amount that I was putting into the parties, going out with my friends. And so I guess after a while, you learn self-control. You might think you have it, but once your parents aren't behind you to check on everything, you kind of go crazy. So self-control actually comes slowly. You'll actually start to realize, and I think that's one of the greatest things that I got from after being a first year, because I realized everything, and now I can keep myself under control. I know what I should do and what I shouldn't do, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree. I guess you got so much responsibility first year, and not just with money, but with going out too, especially. I think I learned until where I can handle myself, like going out, or how I work best so I can balance school with friends, with I don't know, everything else that's super important, like budgeting or more adult like things that
exactly,
in high school we didn't even have to think about. So I guess just learn a lot more of responsibility and control.
You mature a lot.
Yeah,
this time.
you mature a lot from first week until the last week of the first year. A completely different person.
You become a different person. Yeah, your insights on like how you view everything from uni work, from spending to going out, it's completely different to what you were in high school, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Or first week or the first month.
Exactly.
Okay. Favorite bar / club in Segovia? Don't answer yet. On 3, and say it at the same time. Okay. 1, 2.
Irish.
Oh shit! I didn't say it at the same time.
So what's up with Irish?
Well, for example, at least it's my favorite club right now. Because last year, we used to go to Bao a lot. So Bao was this other club, you know. Well, it was more like a bar. Exactly.
It's a bar.
And the thing is, during us, at least our first year, the problem is that, for example, Bao inside was closed. You could only be in the terrace due to COVID. And Irish also at the very beginning last year, it was not what it's now. You couldn't go buy a place, go in, and it's like a dancing club. No, there were tables, and you had to stay in your table the whole time. So it was a very different experience. But after the restrictions were lifted, Irish really became the go-to place. You could see Irish, there's lines pretty much every day.
No, the lines are insane.
Yeah, there's like an hour line, and then honestly, it's really worth it though, because those nights where it's really, really full, you get your ticket, you go inside. The music is great, in my opinion. They actually have a really good DJ.
Yeah.
And then it's just, you go there with all your friends. It's so full. I especially like the lights in Irish. Mm-hmm. The lights are really nice.
The confetti.
The confetti, everything. So yeah, definitely if you go first year, Irish is the way to go, to be honest.
No, yeah. I mean, Irish is also one of it's the club that IE goes to, you know? So it's special because all IE students will go. And when you go inside, you'll see all first years, all second years. You'll get closer to people. You'll see everyone. Everyone's super familiar. So I guess that's what makes Irish really special. And obviously, the music and everything. So yeah, for sure, Irish is the place to go at night if you really want to party. Yeah, unlike last year. Last year was Bao.
Yeah. Bao, yeah. And now Bao is more sometimes if you want to go pre-drink before you go to Irish, just a bit there, and then you go to Irish with your friends, you're all ready. So yeah, but apart from that, there's also other bars. There's bars like Shout. Mm-hmm. There's also
Sabat, which is another club.
There's another club, but like we said, it's not exclusivity, let's say, but when you go to Irish, there's going to be people from IE, so you can really let go, you feel comfortable because it's people you know.
Yeah, Irish is only IE students, and Sabat is a mix of sometimes IE with the Segovians, and it really depends on the vibe, and it's mostly reggaeton.
Yeah, it's a different type of music, so Irish is a bit more international.
Yeah, it's inclusive. It has everything. It has from techno to reggaeton to house to everything.
So yeah, Irish is the way to go.
Yeah, Irish.
I've still never been to Irish, actually.
What?
Yeah, I've still never been.
You've been here 2 years and you've never been to Irish?
Yeah, it's kind of like my claim to fame at this point. I guess
Never been to Irish, you know.
never been to Irish.
You can't graduate as an IE student if you never go to Irish.
I'm not really that opposed. I guess it's never just
I
lined
have, so
up with my
let's
schedule.
go tonight then.
Yeah,
we're going
tonight?
tonight. You come with us.
I'm going to Madrid, unfortunately. I can't.
We're moving there next year. Come on, enjoy Segovia.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
we enjoy Madrid a lot though. As
Yeah, we
Segovian
do.
students, like at least first year, we would go every one or 2 weeks to Madrid.
Yeah,
Because honestly, I think that's where the really, really big parties. Like I said, Irish and Bao, you couldn't really go inside. It was closed, so it was really kind of restricted by the restrictions.
but in Madrid, no.
But in Madrid, it was really different. So even though they had to close around 12, it actually got you a feeling of like going to a club. There was lines, you got a table, there was really good music, you could get up and dance. And that's what pretty much every first year does. Even now, I have a lot of friends in first year this year, and I always see their stories. They always go out to Madrid, especially go out to like Capital, Liberty, and other things like that, which is a great experience for Segovian students. I think also that's one really good thing when students from IE go to Segovia, is that you have the whole Segovia experience. So the Segovia experience, you can compare kind of to like an American campus experience, because it's such a small thing, and you go walking any street, you will see an IE student. There's IE students all over Segovia. They live all
Especially
over the place.
supermarkets.
Exactly. That is also one of the other meeting points. You can always see your friends in the supermarkets. And the good thing, you have that like American campus experience. And when you want to go out to the city, to Madrid, when you want to like go with your friends, enjoy a weekend, a long weekend, go party, it's only 1 hour and 20 minutes in bus, and it's like 25 minutes in train. That's what is so great about Segovia. It's so accessible from Madrid. You can come and back in the same day. So
And it's cheap too. The bus is only like €5.
exactly. So it's really cheap. So you have, if you want kind of like more chill weekend, you stay in Segovia. And if you have some like a birthday or something special, you can go to Madrid, and it won't take you that much time, and it's not that really expensive.
So you get the intimate sort of college town experience in Segovia, but you always have the opportunity to go to the Madrid metropolis and party it away in the big clubs and bars and city life.
That's well, I mean, that's the great thing about coming to Segovia. You have both of them.
The best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I mean, walking through really any street in Segovia, you're bound to run into at least 3-4 of your classmates or friends, and it's a pretty interesting experience. It's like I always refer to it as a massive high school hallway.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it for sure
It is built like a high school. All the small roads, you take a left, and there's stairs here, you go stairs down.
You
So,
live 5 minutes away from literally everyone.
It's really easy to memorize the whole of Segovia, because it's not that big. You know all the streets, you know all the directions. So yeah, exactly. That's a good high school hallway, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, it's beautiful as well. Do you guys have some favorite kind of historical nice view spots, or maybe something like the castle or under the castle?
I don't know. I just love exploring. Like there'll be random days or random nights where I'll be like, I'm bored. I want to explore. I grab like my friends or whoever I see, and we just go explore. Because the more you walk around Segovia, the more you continue to like discover and find. Even though it's a small like town, it's beautiful. Like the nature, you'll see so much.
Yeah, no, just adding on to that. So, for example, talking about specific locations, you have what we call the hills.
The hills.
So, so you would have to take, like a 15-minute walk. It's a 15-minute walk. You have to go to the hills. It's a place. That's where we used to go because of restrictions. You couldn't be more than 6 indoors. So we would usually go, would be 20 to like 30 or 50. We'd go to the hills. We'd bring our own speakers. And the hills is a part where you have a view of the whole of Segovia. So you're quite up there, and you can see the cathedral, you can see IE. It's very beautiful. And coming down from the hills, there's actually a park, and there's the river right next to it. And walking from there is one of my favorite spots, for example. It's right next to the walls, on top of the walls. You guys see the old medieval walls, and you can stand there, and you have a view of pretty much all the hills around, and it's really beautiful, especially when it snowed last year. You could see the mountains. There was snow everywhere. It was honestly very picturesque. A special word, but it was honestly very, very pretty.
Oh, yeah. I love the hills. And for picnics and to see the sunsets too, it's beautiful.
So exactly like we said, you can also here in Segovia, you can either, have the bars, go with your friends, and if you want something more nature, something more chill, you go out to the parks, you go out to the hills, you go out to the river, and you can have a completely different scenario in front of you.
Or even out for like lunch or like dinner. Like here, you barely sit inside. Like the restaurants, you don't sit inside. It's everything outside always. So it's a really nice environment.
Terraces everywhere, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite spots is right under the castle, like the little park. I love that spot.
Yeah.
The grass is nice and
There's just nature all around you.
yeah. And you look up at the castle, you feel like you're in a Disney movie.
Yeah.
That's
And
so
then you
true.
see the eagles. Also,
Yeah.
one thing what I love about Segovia is you can see so many eagles, and they're really close by. They'll only be flying maybe 10 meters, 5 meters on top of you sometimes, and you can see how majestic they are. Insane. They're really big creatures, and they go flying around. You can always see, and you can always hear open. You hear the donkey when on Fridays. There's always the donkey outside. Lets you know what
The
time you have to go.
donkeys.
Yeah, exactly.
The donkeys are hilarious. In the middle of class, you'll just hear.
Everyone will stop. The teacher even laughs. So
Yeah. I'm like, why are the windows open? Why are the windows open only today?
Oh.
It's only on donkey days.
Exactly, bro. It's special days.
Donkey days. What about the caves? Have you guys been to any of the caves? Under maybe, I don't know exactly where they are because I don't know if I should disclose, but there's quite a few caves around Segovia, some
Yeah.
secret passages.
Some party caves, yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, party caves or just, chill out caves.
Yeah,
But
no.
yeah,
I've been to
The
I've been
rave
to
cave.
Yeah, the rave cave
Yeah.
last year. Very interesting experience. It's really it was honestly one of the most fun parties, to be honest. Like you're in a natural cave, music is blasting, you're having fun. And it was a unique experience. But also going out with your friends. If you just want to chill, you go in a cave, it's all quiet, you don't hear any sounds. It's also a very beautiful experience that way.
and also very claustrophobic sometimes and scary,
Yeah, sometimes. Like,
depending on which cave you're talking about.
yeah, there's a bigger one, then there's a slimmer one, which is a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But
So, of course, it's fun. There's partying, there's chilling, alone, with friends, in massive groups of 300 plus people during COVID times, which is totally legal. But as far as homesickness is concerned, how did you guys feel on that front your first year? Because obviously it's tough, you move away from home for the first time in your life and you're here, you're alone, maybe you know some people, but, at the end of the day, it's just you. How did that feel?
I mean, at least for me, it wasn't as hard as I thought, at least for the first months especially, just because I did grow up very international, so I've been moving my whole life, like every 3 years. So with the moving process, I knew what to expect, and like readapting and all that was quite normal for me, I guess. And before here, I was living in Japan, and during COVID, me and my family, we ended up moving to London. So my parents actually are super close by. So anytime that I would want to see them, I could get a flight, like a 2-hour flight, and see them. So it wasn't that hard being homesick, at least. But during COVID, it was a bit just because of COVID, I wasn't allowed to go into the UK. My parents weren't allowed to come here. The only place we could meet each other was in Brazil because of our passports. And that we couldn't even go because of how bad it was. So it was a bit difficult. But I would always call them, or they call me, and just catch up. So yeah, I guess. And at the end of the day, I had my friends here, and if we were feeling kind of down, we would always do something or have a chill night in, watch a movie, or order in food. And I guess the people here really do become almost family. So I guess I always had like support.
So yeah, on similar tracks, my family stayed behind. They stayed in Paris when I came here. At the very beginning, to be honest, I didn't really think about the homesickness because I was so excited with everything. But I think it started to hit me maybe 4 weeks in. I started to realize, you wake up alone, your mom doesn't make you breakfast anymore, you don't see your siblings, you don't see my little brother, putting his backpack, going to school, my sister doing her exams for university. I don't see my dad anymore, I don't see my mom. So I think that's where it really hit me, and I started to realize I really miss them now. But I also told to myself, this is an experience that pretty much everyone goes through in life. You move out from your parents. You just have to take it in a good way, to be honest. You have to think, this is going to help me, this is going to make me a stronger person, it's going to make me more independent. And again, there was sometimes that it did feel down, but like I said, I was in a residence. My friends were always there to support me. In worst case scenario, I could always do a quick FaceTime with my family. I would always talk to them in groups, tell them I was doing well. I mean, I especially miss my cats personally, my 2 cats. It was fun to see them in the FaceTime, talking to them. They would look around in the camera because they didn't see me. But yeah, no, it was pretty difficult at some points. There was definitely some low points, but I think that, like I said, it makes you more independent. At the end of the day, it makes you a stronger person. And just remember that your friends in Segovia are always going to be here to support you. And also that your parents, if there's something always wrong, they'll always come to see you because, that's their priority. Make sure that you're fine. So,
yeah, for sure. When I got COVID, first week of university, the first thing my mom wanted to do was fly here. And I was like, no, please don't. Whatever you do not get near me. But no, for sure. Parents, yeah.
And that's all for today's episode of the Going to IE University podcast. Thanks a lot to our special guests, Ciara Rodriguez and Quentin Emiliano. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you for having us.